Hi everyone, my name's Jordan and welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to talk about my experience reading all 72 volumes of Naruto. This is an incredibly famous manga and anime series. My husband has watched all over 500 episodes of the anime, and I just do not have the time or desire to commit to something like that. So instead I decided to read 72 volumes of the manga. And I have a lot of thoughts. It took me a little over a year because there was a moment where I didn't read any for a few months because I was bored of them. But I am glad I stuck through it and finished them out because the ending was great. So first, what is Naruto? Naruto is a story of a young orphaned boy who just doesn't really fit into the village he lives in, and he goes to this school with his peers to become a shinobi, which is like a ninja that has special powers and stuff, and they can use their chakra to do different things and enhance their fighting abilities. He is kind of ostracized from a lot of people, and he doesn't get along with a lot of people, and he doesn't know what his background is. And the whole story is kind of him and this other group of children as they get older. You follow them for like 10 years or something, and you get to see them get older and grow their powers and protect their village and their people. And it's like a really heartfelt story about growing up. It's like a coming of age story. The characters are some really cool, some kind of lame, some predictable. There's like a whole array of characters. There are a lot of characters. There are different arcs throughout the mangas that have different villains. So we have a multitude of villains. There's not just like one big bad guy until the very end. The scope of the world is quite vast. You see generations of shinobi throughout the story. So Naruto himself, the main character, his character arc is semi-predictable, but with a few exceptions. So it is a coming of age story. He is like this very powerful shinobi who wants to become Hokage. That's like his big dream, and the Hokage are like the leaders of the village. And so his storyline itself is a little predictable. However, there are a lot of things along the way that influence him, and the different relationships he builds while he grows are really what makes his character arc stand out. He is incredibly powerful. When his parents died, they sealed this nine-tailed demon inside of him so that it didn't destroy their entire village. So he has the powers of this nine-tailed demon, and he also has these sage powers that he learns. So there's just like all these different powers that Naruto learns as he grows that are really just so cool. Some of the other characters around him, the other people in his like pod of children that are learning together, are Sakura and Sasuke. And Sasuke is like this, he's like the emo kid that's like he's so extra. And his character arc is very dark. His family has all died, and you find out later how that came to be. Sakura is like, she follows the very stereotypical manga trope of like a girl that loves boys, you know, like, so her character arc is kind of annoying, but towards the end, she gets really cool and her powers also grow a lot. But her character arc in the beginning, most of the women's character arcs in the beginning are not great. But there's different kinds of fighting, and there's different characters that specialize in all these different kinds. So there is a wide variety of characters that all have their own character arcs. Some are more fleshed out than others. The villains are normally very cool. They all have obviously a very special power. You start out with like Orochimaru, who is like this snake guy. he's really cool. But there's a lot of the villain arcs are, again, while they have kind of like predictable motives, not all of them do, but some of them have like very predictable motives, like I want to take over the world. But some of them actually do have very deep trauma that inspires their motives for the story. And it creates a very interesting world. The villains are all very powerful, and of course Naruto and his children friends beat them every time, but there are high stakes in this story. There is like deaths of big characters, and there is trauma. It's not just like a happy-go-lucky story. There is a lot of like hardships that these people go through. Their lives are not easy. As for the plot and the pacing, the plot is at times predictable. in the grand scheme of things, but in the nuanced, like, small snippets, it's very interesting. However, the pacing was not great. Naruto is known for having a lot of filler episodes in the anime where it's not much of the plot is progressing. It's just like they had to get an episode out. And I felt like while a lot of that was trimmed down in the manga, there were still multiple volumes where I was like, this was boring. There was a point towards the end, like volumes 64 to 69, I think, somewhere in that area, where I was just so bored. That's when I'd stopped reading for like months because I just didn't care. Like, I was like, this is boring. It was starting like the big ending fight, and the big ending fight takes like 10 volumes. It was just really boring. It had a lot of the like stereotypical manga things where everyone would stop fighting for a long time for the villain to explain exactly what he's doing, and like there was just so much of that I got really bored. But then when I picked it back up, it really escalated quickly and I cried. I didn't expect to cry. I had seen some of the really sad episodes because my husband, again, loves Naruto, and before I had any interest in reading them, he made me watch some of the saddest scenes, and so I knew some of the sad stuff coming. However, I didn't know anything about the ending or any of the sad stuff at the end, and there was multiple times in the last like 4 volumes where I was full on crying. So it really did pick up by the end, and like the pacing was mostly good through like the first 55 volumes. It was really just that chunk at the beginning of the final fight where I was just incredibly bored. But I'm very glad I continued, obviously. So overall, my final thoughts, I really, really enjoyed this series and I'm glad I read it. It is a beautiful coming of age story with a lot of really cool magic, a lot of really cool fighting scenes, some really interesting villains and interesting characters, and really, really heartfelt moments. It is 72 volumes, so that is like so much. That's so many volumes. Obviously, you grow very attached to these characters and their character arcs, and you want what's best for them. And so by the end, you just feel such relief and satisfaction at how it ends, or at least I did. And so I'm very glad I read it. I highly recommend it to manga fans out there everywhere. It is incredibly long. It's so long. But I was able to get ebook versions from my library and I read them on my iPad, and so you don't have to pay for 72 volumes, but I highly recommend it if you are into manga. It was very good, very touching. I cried. It was enjoyable to read. And that is all of my thoughts on the entire Naruto manga. Thank you guys for watching. If you could please like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know down below what manga I should read next. I'm currently reading Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon Eternal, the longest title of a manga, but there are only 10 in there, and I'm on the second one. So let me know what I should read next. I have my sights set on One Piece, and I want to read Jujutsu Kaisen. So yeah, let me know what you think I should read. If you really like my content, please hit the notification bell to be notified every time I post new videos. As always, your support means the world to me, and until next time, thank you guys.